I pray to the divinity in you. Seven minutes for questions, but some useful questions. And do not let out your useless emotions on me. Yes.
In the breathing, we mentioned the timing is by counting. This counting creates a very subtle jerk. How to avoid that?
You are true. That cannot be avoided. Yet you have to learn to make your breath smooth without just mentally. Or then, for that, there is a way. You don't have to count, you see. You feel as though you are breathing right from the crown of your head to the toes, and coming back from the crown, toes to the crown of your head. And then catch hold of the thread of the pranas with exhalation and inhalation. Go as far as you can. If you study the book, Sant Janeshwar's Gita, he explains that technique which I experimented, and that's very useful.
But the ratio 1 to 1 is there, but 1 to 2 cannot be done that way.
1 to 2 can be done that way. You see, if you exhale and go beyond, you see. Yes.
Swamiji, during Mandukya Upanishad, you mentioned that inhaling should be done from the base of the spine to the crown, and exhaling should be done from the crown to toe.
That's a different technique. That technique is different.
That was for Turiya?
That technique is different. Then when you start mentally, there are two things. You know, men and women's relationships, sometimes man tries to be predominantly strong and sometimes woman. So sometimes the stress is given on the breath and sometimes on the mind. On the breathing exercises, breath first and mind follows, then you ask mind first and then breath should follow after you have trained. That technique is practiced when you have trained your breath so that breath do not have jerks, noise, pause, you see, and shallowness. In such a case, then you do it mentally.
Why I ask this question is that from spine to crown and crown to toes helps in 2 to 1 ratio more than from toe to crown and crown to toe.
Mm-hmm. That helps. Yes?
How can I become fearless?
By examining fears. And I am going to give you a technique. For the therapists and doctors, this technique, if they remember, this is very useful. Nothing higher than this, which I am going to teach you today. And that is also called Manaprakshalanam. How to wash your mind, how to purify your mind. But knowing is not very helpful. Sometimes it could be dangerous. You know and you don't do. Practicing is important. And when you start practicing, everything will follow. So you should know that. Yes?
How can one overcome loneliness?
Very easy. I always used to think, actually in the world, one disease that cannot be cured, and perhaps it's the source of all diseases. Loneliness creates fear, loneliness creates insecurity, loneliness creates many things. Perhaps that is the center of all the diseases, psychosomatic diseases. But people don't want to recognize it. And because of that insecurity, people get married to get rid of loneliness. You see, and instead of getting rid of it, it increases. I find two people sharing the same roof, bed, you see, claiming each other to be very happy, and yet both are lonely. So what is that loneliness? Let me repeat. I have been telling you a story, and in my childhood, when I was a teenager, I was very fearless but arrogant. And my master did not know how to, you see, help me. You see. Arrogant in a way, I used to think nothing is impossible for me, my master will do it. With that feeling, I became arrogant. So one day, a prince of that state where we used to live in the mountains, where there was earthquake recently, came to visit, and he came from London. So his father said, go and meet the Swamiji, who is our revered teacher, and then take over. So, with all his paraphernalia, secretary, guards, and as I thought many people coming, it never happens to our cave. And gunmen. So I stood outside, I said, who are you? So secretary came forward, says, sir, he is a prince of this state. I said, I am the prince of this cave. You see, how come you have, without my permission, you get out of this place? So the secretary was a little bit matured, so he understood that this boy has some problem, you know. So he said, sir, can I see the master? I said, hence you are humble, I will allow you. You see. Because he said, the secretary says, do you know he is a prince of this state? That annoyed me. Who cares? Who is prince? You see. It's a 12th century business. So he came and he went inside. Exactly, I was with him with his folded hand. He said, good morning to you, sir. And he said, I had his to I mean, okay, good morning. And if you really analyze, what do you mean by good morning? It is not wishing somebody, is wishing the morning. These are Western mantras, you know. Sorry, sorry, thank you, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. They don't carry any sense. But it has become a custom, so everyone says good morning to you. Good morning is good morning for us both. Why are you reminding me? You say something useful, you know, don't waste my time. So here, so he didn't say anything after that. He said, sir, you seem to be lonesome, he said. And what did he answer? Beautiful. Hence you have come, I have become lonesome. If you really analyze your relationship, all the relationship you have, who makes you lonely? Those who claim to love you, with whom you are attached, to whom you are attached, they make you lonely. Outsiders don't make you lonely. They are outsiders. So the root of loneliness is attachment. Then he said, So far I have been conversing with my friend within me. Now you diverted my mind and make me lonely. You will be not lonely if you feel the presence of the Lord within. The moment you forget that, you will become lonely, because any relationship in the external world has no power, strength and capacity to give you freedom from loneliness. Not possible. Therefore, because all the relationship, anything external is subject to change, death, decay and decomposition. Everything is fast-fleeing, disappointing. Yet we live in the world, we smile, we enjoy, we laugh and we amuse ourselves. In reality, you are lonely, all are lonely. That loneliness will be there because you have forgotten the real friend within yourself and you have established friendship with the strangers, and the strangers cannot be relied upon. You assume the duties, what you call duties. This is my wife, this is my children, this is my home, this is my... All these assumptions create attachment for you. It's a reality. But in the heart of hearts, if you know that the greatest of all the friends is within me, and then you will be never lonely. There is only one way of having freedom from that loneliness, which is the source of many, many psychosomatic diseases. By being constantly aware of the truth within you, the greatest of all friends. In the external world, everything changes. Look at how much love do we have for our body, consciously and unconsciously. From morning till evening, we cater, we look after this body. And it's frail. It's not something that any moment, it crumbles. So much time with you. We forget that there is someone eternally seated within us who is our real friend. We forget that. The constantly present friend within you. It's present there. So I am going to make you aware that presence, that friend within you. You need very closeness, and that's what the third path is called samaya. I am with you. When you have this awareness that Lord is with me, Lord of life is with me, then there will be no fear. Fear of what? It has only two reasons: of losing what you have and of not gaining what you want. And you all are afraid of your bodies, because mind nobody can take. It's such a dirty thing nobody wants. If you offer your mind to somebody, you cannot do it, because mind does not belong to you, you have no control, you belong to the mind and you are giving your owner instead of giving your slave. The day you are the owner of your mind, master of your mind, then you give, that is called self-surrender. Otherwise, it's just something, unauthorized giving. So such a mind which does not know how to follow, how to be directed, how to be orderly, such a mind needs a particular method so that mind goes that way, flows that way. Anyone who thinks that mind can be stopped and one can stop thinking, that's not right method. Mind should be taught where to flow, which way to flow, how its energy can be used. And that particular method is best of the methods where you allow your mind to flow consciously, and that is useful method. Body is yours and it's a good instrument. Soul, of course, that you are. Senses are yours, breath is yours. It's only one thing, alien, that is mind, which does not cooperate. How to establish friendship with that alien? Sant Tukaram, Jnaneshwar, Samarth Ramdas, everyone talked about that mind. You see, even some of the Navayana Buddhists say, no mind business. I don't want to accept that mind exists. But that's not possible. You see. Therefore, to chalk out a road, you see, a way for the mind to travel. It has a habit of traveling from one place to another. If you say, I am speaking truth that I am here, I am not going to believe you, because mentally you are not here. You see. Such a mind which has its moods, manners, which is equipped, you see, fully with all atomic powers, which was not trained to be creative, it's there with you. And whole of the body lies in that mind, but whole of the mind is not in the body. That's the serious problem. Psychologists of last century interpreted it in say, you are carrying that bag with yourself. You see? The brighter you make through light, the brighter you are, the brighter that bag is, that shadow is. Therefore, I've started describing. You have more questions, creative questions? Then I will start my subject. Yes, sir.
Forgive me, Gurudev, for the yesterday's question, but I would like clarification in the talk about the relationship between Turiya, Samadhi and Saundaryalahari.
Turiya Samadhi, that state, Saundaryalahari, Tripura Sundari, that's the abode of mother. So that is the relationship. Turiya is the abode of mother, from where she watches all three states, sleeping, dreaming, waking. So in enlightenment, on the path of enlightenment, you attain Turiya. But the devotee says, with her grace you can easily attain Turiya because it is her abode. Turiya is abode, that's why she is called Tripura Sundari. Pur means city. There are 3 cities, waking, dreaming and sleeping. You are citizen of 3 cities and she is citizen of 4 cities. The 4th one is Turiya. So that is a relationship.
So where does Samadhi?
Turiya, if you have attained some Turiya, you have gone beyond Samadhi. Yes. In Samadhi, you attain a state of equilibrium, tranquility. Here you go beyond the state which is called, which is called sleepless sleep. You are in deep sleep, yet you are fully awake. That is the state in which. Yes?
The Divine Mother related to the Lord within.
Divine Mother related to?
To the Lord within.
Virtually they are one and the same. There are 2 aspects of the Lord. One is silent aspect, dormant aspect, another is expressive aspect. That creative aspect is called Mother, that silent aspect is called Father of the universe. One is called Shiva, another is called Shakti. Without Shakti, nothing can be created. This universe was directly created by Shakti. You see, though source is Shiva, but Shiva without Shakti's help cannot create the universe. One is unmanifested power, another is manifestation. That which manifests is called Shakti. That which remains in unmanifested form, though it is still there, it's called self-existent power. That is Shiva. And which manifests itself, that's called Shakti. This fine discrimination is there. Yes?
Swamiji, would you elaborate a little bit on what you stated yesterday about that dark area within
I am
the
going to. I am going to after this question. Yes?
Sir, what does the mind do in sleep? Does it just run around?
No. Sleep means where there is no content in the mind, then that is called sleep. When thoughts are not active, they don't go to their chamber, conscious mind. They don't use their avenues, their employees, senses. During that time you are in deep sleep. The moment there is some content in the mind, that is not sleep, it turns to dream. And when your mind contacts, uses your senses, then employs, then it's called waking state. But there is a state beyond waking, dreaming and sleeping, that's called Turiya, state beyond. You see, in which you are on the top of the mountain, seeing above, down, below, here, there and everywhere. That Turiya state, that kingdom is called kingdom of beauty, where there lies Mother Divine, Shakti, the power of powers. Yes?
Can you define bliss?
I am eating candy. I cannot define the sweetness. No writer can define. You will have to eat the candy. So this is beyond description, definition.
I'm not clear on the questions that I should be asking myself.
Then don't ask.
In the internal dialogue that you want us to do, what are the questions I should be asking during that internal dialogue for sleep for meditation?
You should first ask. The internal dialogue has a first question, Koham, who am I? First. Am I body alone which is subject to change, death and decay? Am I born at the mercy of the matter? Am I just a heap or lump, a miserable heap and lump of matter? Is there anything beyond that? First you analyze that body, your greatest friend, to whom you depend so much, expect so much from the body, waste so much time and energy, devote so much time and energy. You know it changes, you see, and it goes to decay. Now, I am a breathing being too. Suppose I don't receive breathing, then can I live? No, body cannot be retained. So as I am physical being, I am a breathing being too. Then I think. I am a thinking being too. It's beyond my breath. Then I reason, the finest part of reasoning, thinking, I reason. By discriminating what is right and what is wrong. This process is called dialogue. Then how am I thinking? Is my mind everything? All the aspects of my internal states? No. So I am beyond this. Am I affected by my mind? Yes, because I identify myself with my mind. My mind is identifying itself with the objects of the world, that's why it is unhappy. You see. When you understand that you are full of bliss, peace and happiness, that's your nature, then you no more identify yourself with your mind. This dialogue will bring awareness. Now you have become aware that there is something that is beyond the mire of delusion created by your mind. What is that? How to reach there? You will have to somehow or other have compromise with your body. So some people say by having good health, and at the same time training your body, learning to be still and comfortable, and then say having serene breath, then having mental dialogue. Oh my mind, why are you not listening to the reasonings of my buddhi? Why are you creating problems for me? Immediately Manas says, I am not trained. You better train me. Whenever you do something, you know many times that it should not be done, but you just ignore it. If it is subject to sense pleasure, you know that it is not rewarding ultimately, yet you do it because of your habit patterns, because of your habits, because of your habit of that particular aspect of being which is called manas within you. Therefore, dialogue helps you, makes you aware of this, you see, and then practice effort, self-effort. And I tell you, nothing is impossible with self-effort. I am going to give you something. There was somebody, a great musician in our country during that time. His name was Omkarnath Thakur. Many people know. He was my contemporary. So when I heard him, I said, he's nothing. I can do better. And I started practicing music for 7 hours a day. So my master said, this boy is extremist, you know. He goes to extreme and forgets other things. One day, Swamis of the cave told him that he creates problem for us. He said, look, he has come for a month or two, you know, from the university. When he goes away, they said, no. We have renounced our homes, and all the time he reminds of, you know, he explains how a woman looks beautiful and how that she wears. During those I was practicing Thumri. Baju bande khul khul jaye. See? It's a piece of beautiful ornament. You see? So whenever she's trying to put it back, it opens. And I was repeating it for 3 hours, and he said, they all got angry. They said, this is not a good symptom. We renounced our home, and here he is telling us, Baju band khul khul jaye, Baju band khul khul jaye. There is no end. He said, then what do you think? So he should be beaten up. They decided to say, okay, decision is yours. So, you know that string, Tanpura, it was made 5 feet, rare to get that. So they caught hold of it and first they broke it. But they knew I was strong enough and I could handle anybody physically. So first they did, son, we like to have your measurement. So how could they take measurement? So I stood on the tree like this, and now you can measure me. By that time they brought rope and they tied me with the rope. 3, 4 people. I was tied up for 4, 5 hours. And they broke my Tanpura. And I said, Master, nobody can do this. And he's quite sitting inside, he's not telling them anything. And I was outside. I was getting angry, but I was helpless because I was tied up. Otherwise I would have, you see, gone, taken off. I don't want to say something which happened after that. I urinated on my pants because they wouldn't release me. 5, 6 hours. And anybody would come and beat me up. I promise that you are not going to sing in the morning. You know, in the morning you culture your voice by saying, So, instead 1 hour, 3 o'clock when we sit in Samadhi, you are saying, what is this going on? And then when you sing the songs of, let's say, women, and we have renounced the world, so you better do it. And during those days, I could cultivate my voice in a way. I have still tape, you know, when I used to sing. He did not know that I used to sing in radio. I changed my name, I had my nickname, and I used to sing and get money, enough money. So somebody came and said to my master, Sir, oh, wonderfully, you have prepared that boy. Which boy? Say, Brahmacharya, what does he do? So he dances wonderful. So what? Where did you see his dance? In the town hall in New Delhi. We raised funds, Dr. Vaishnav and me. He got very disturbed. And he said, dance is nothing. But he sings wonderful. So where have you heard his? Through radio. Does he sing in radio? He said, yes. Kabir Das bhajan, he sings very well. He loves to sing. He kept quiet. He allowed him to go away. He called me. He never did that before. Took out his cane and he started beating me up anywhere on my body. And harshly. And said, you have disappointed me in my life. So what have I done? Had you told me not to sing, I would have stopped. And he said, if you take up anything, take up seriously and complete it. So I am doing that. He said, bring the Ganges water. I brought the Ganges water, put it in my hand. I said, do the sankalpa. I will not sing before 1985. If you tell a young man, I will not get married before I am 70, means you never get married. You see. And that. I said, you don't have to beat me for doing this. You tell me and I will not do this. No. I had to do this. Finally, I had to stop that. So whenever I heard any music, I used to do this or go away. Then I started writing poems and making paintings. He threw away my paintings and tore my poems. Hello, Shakespeare, how are you? He used to say, Nothing, meditation. After you have learnt and gone through analyzing these arts, fine arts, now I'm giving you. Painting is a very good subject, but he told me one thing. He said, suppose you have painted beautiful donkeys, many donkeys playing around, you can hang in your living room. But will you allow a living donkey to come to your living room? Will you? No, you won't like that. So this is the worth of your arts, he said. How far can you sing? How many people can you amuse? I said, I don't amuse anybody, I sing for myself. He said, sing for yourself mentally. So what is this expressing dance in this? I said, you sent me to the school where these are taught. What can I do? So he told me, the finest of all is meditation. If you really want to, if you really want to express yourself, then express yourself fully during meditation, with full devotion, perfect control, with all your intelligence. These expressions are external. The meditative expression is internal. One thing. This is directly training the mind. You see. So anything you do, you should do things in the world. You cannot remain without doing things. But those things should train your mind too. So the path that is followed by the monks or renunciates, that's called samaya. So there are three paths, three schools. Those who are the worshippers in the external world, they are called Kaula. And those who have awareness that there is something beyond this world, as Kashmir Saivism says, what is God? That which is not the world is called God, they say. You will have to deny first that this world is not God, then you will know what God is. So second is Mishra, third is Samaya. The renunciates give Diksha to their students on this path. And one of the finest part of Diksha, means initiation, is upward traveling. When the student is ready, when he is eager to know this, then upward traveling. Who travels upwards? Shakti. You see. Then there is no way of traveling downward. Or, if Shakti travels downward, then it is under your conscious control. Never beyond that. Never unconscious control. I told you, Sambhavi Diksha is highest of that, when a great sage suddenly does something and you are totally transformed. Balmik's life was transformed. Paul became Saint Paul because of that transformation. In all traditions there had been such cases. With Jesus, with Moses, total transformation. Vivekananda, Nanak Dev, all these great sages, they had Shambhavi Diksha. Diksha was given, initiation was given directly by Shiva or through Guru. Guru gives Shaktipata. Now you always talk about Shaktipata, it has become a gimmick in these days. So those who do not want to do lazy bombs, say, we don't have to do anything, our Guru is so powerful, he will give us some Shakti. Nothing. That's not true. Shaktipata comes when you have made full efforts and then you do not know what to do. There you find plateau. Don't know how to go beyond that. Then you approach your teacher that I cannot go beyond this. And he says, go make more efforts, and yet nothing happens. Then you cry. And sometimes say, perhaps my teacher also doesn't know how to go beyond this. There was a great seer, Rishi, in ancient times, Vedic period, who was called Kanav. He was called Kanav because he made all the efforts, and he could not attain. So he started crying. That's why he is called Kanav, Krandan. Then dawned the wisdom, and then he was perfectly, satisfied. So what the teachers do? Teachers give, Shaktipata is not considered as Diksha. It's the Kripa of Guru. But what Guru can do, I want you to see something, I brought a light and you are closing your eyes. How can I show you light? I say, open your eyes, I'll show you light. He said, no, I'm very comfortable and I don't want to see. But yet I want Shaktipata. For that you have to open your eyes too. you see. When you are in tune, when you have all your desires are swallowed by only one desire, desire to meet thee in that situation, then someone comes and touches you. In front of our Rishikesh ashram, many of you have seen, when it was a small one-room ashram, a leper came. From morning till evening he would give me bad names. And mother and father, dirty bad names. And it was very unpleasant. One day I went with folded hands and said, "What have I done to you? You are giving me bad names." He said, "But you are a Swami. You don't exist. You don't have mother, you don't have father, you don't have brother, you don't have friend. Why are you feeling bad?" He told. I said, "It's all right what you are saying, this is all knowledge." He said, "Apply that knowledge. Why did you become a Swami if you are feeling bad?" I used to serve him. And it came in my mind that let me serve him more so that he's quiet. But the more I serve him, the more he would say things, dirty things. You are a devil and you are anything he would say. And from morning till evening, anybody came and he would definitely say something. And just in front of my ashram, and if I did not bring fruits or water or milk on time, he will double his speed. One day I cried in front of him. He said, "No, you are not perfect Swami, so don't cry." "Why should you cry?" One day suddenly a Swamiji came. A very tall man, 6 feet, 7 inches, like tall, wouldn't wear anything. He called Vola. I said, "Sir, can you give me something to eat?" I said, "Immediately. Whatever is there left, come on, give me the left out." And this man started giving bad names. So who is that? I said, "There is a leper. He's a constant headache to me. What can I do? I've been looking after him for 2-3 years, but he wouldn't stop. He jumped the barbed wire fence. There were thorns, bushes, and kicked him. And I did not like his kicking. The Swami should not do that. He kicked him so hard, jumped in the river Ganges and crossed the river and went away. Do you know? He was completely cured. That leper. He became very silent. There was no pus in his body. Now I started, instead of looking this, what has happened, I started searching for that Swami. Sent people to other side of the bank, this side and that side. Never got. Never met him again in my life. What was this? Perhaps he was prepared to be cured. And in one kick he cured him. One kick. But that was quite a hard kick. So if you are prepared to have a hard kick in life, last kick in life, and if you are fully prepared, it is possible. I don't forget that. I tried my best to see. I went to all akhadas from where I could take, all the centers, all the institutes. I never saw him. Nobody ever gave me description. He ate his lunch with me. He talked to me. So when he heard somebody, he said, "What is this noise coming?" I said, "There is a leper. I look after him, but he gives me bad names." Half of the chapati he left and he jumped and kicked him and went away. And that man, then that leper is just still alive, completely cured. Cries for him, but he has not met him too. Sometimes rarely such things happen because of the past sanskaras, because of the God's grace. But in orderly way, there is a method of initiation which is called upward traveling. In upward traveling, vigorous pranayama exercise, not breathing, pranayama exercise, is taught with certain bandhas, and then the fluid that is secreted by the ovaries or testes, that starts going upwards. You see, in medical science also, I compare because I know something about it. In certain cases, doctors take blood from this and inject on another arm. Certain cases. So when I analyzed it, I found it perfect. That type of initiation and diksha is rarely given by the teacher to a rare student, which is very helpful. Sometimes a student like to abstain from sexual activity, but his dreams disturb him. And in dream, he does the same thing which he is trying to avoid. Such nightmares suddenly disturb your sadhana. And you completely forget your vows, completely forget that you are not supposed to do it. And dream is as real as waking state. Suppose you are a king during your waking state. And in dream you find yourself becoming a donkey. And you remain in that state for half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. What a terrible thing. You cannot say dreaming state is no reality. It has its reality. So sometimes the sadhakas are affected by their dreams, though outside, externally, they are following all the rules. Waking state is under your conscious control, but not dreaming state. For such sadhakas, this method of upward traveling is very helpful. Those who have decided not to, those who have decided and there is no necessity, those who say now there is no necessity in life, then they like to travel this upward, have this diksha, upward traveling. This is useful in the cases of monks who live far away in the monasteries. So there are 2-3 exercises. All teachers do not know this. This is a disturbance for the renunciates. This is not disturbance for the householders. Yes, many householders have that problem.
The lecture continues.
Wife is lying next to them, they don't say this, I am saying this to you. Because I have consulted many cases and I was sorry to hear this. Yet the man, mostly man, by nature polygamist, finds himself, you see, having dream with other woman. You see. This is a disease. This is not a simple disease, this is a serious disease. And he is very honest physically to his wife. So, external behavior alone is not considered to be honesty. Gita says, Mithya-achari sochate. If your mind is roving in the grooves, you are married, you are happily married, you are committed to somebody, yet your mind is roving in the grooves of sexuality, you are not considered to be honest. Now, mind is such a thing, anything will come in the mind. What do you do during that time? You should learn to ask your mind to let go. There was a man who asked a Swami, "Sir, what is the difference between you and me? I eat, you go to bathroom, I also go to bathroom, you sleep, I sleep, I don't find any difference. Your requirements are exactly like my requirements. You are called Swami and I am not." He said, "Son, there is a difference. Any thought that comes in your mind, you cling to it, I don't allow it to be in my mind. That is the difference. That's why I am called Swami. That's why you are not called Swami." When you are able to have perfect control over your thinking process and will not allow any such thought which is disturbing to you, which is not helping you, then you have established orderly mind. Such a mind will not disturb you, or rather will help you on certain realms. So when the teacher sees all these hurdles and barriers, he initiates on the path of, when a student says, when he is crossing 65, 70, and says, "I have seen, now I like to, please give me, I find this difficulty," then this initiation is given. Upward traveling, for the trend of the mind and is downward. That's the point. And it's something literal, biological. It is done. It is taught. Now, I told you that I am going to teach you something called mana prakshalanam. What is the best way of purifying your mind? There is. In the school of Samaya, second is Mishra, I told you. Scholar. Modern people like to follow, and they follow this path. Very few people follow this, yet have bhukti and mukti both. But in the Maya Samaya, Samaya means I am with you. When you are conscious that Lord is with you all the time, you have attained something. First thing is, Lord is in me. That enforcement should be done wisely, lovingly. I am a shrine of Lord and Lord is in me. Second point, constantly aware of Lord's presence. So in this path there is a constant awareness of Lord's presence, Mother Divine's presence. That's what is called Samaya. I am with you. When you are fully aware, then that the Lord, the Mother of Divine, Mother Divine is with me. Then it's called path of Sama. You don't use these paths. Then this above. You see. Where you find first Agya Chakra. Then your puja, your worship moves, or after you have done the worship, you meditate on the Agya Chakra. Mind has a tendency not to be inside a circle. It likes all other figures but not circle. It hates. But here mind is so much Panchopchar, Shodasopchar puja has been done that mind has been trained to meditate on it. Here you will find sometimes you have glimpse of the past, most of the time, and sometimes about future, because mind has two tendencies. Mind often runs to the grooves of the past, and on the basis of the past experiences, mind does something, and then fathoms to the future. In this process, mind does not know how to be here and now. This is the point. But as long as you are concentrating on one point, what is actually literally, how do you explain to anybody, somebody intellectual, what meditation means? You should know. If you are a meditator, you should come out with a definition. A thought comes, another thought comes, another thought comes, another thought comes. One after another, many thoughts comes. But there is always a space between two thoughts. Not to allow space is called meditation. Only one thought. One thought, persistently one thought is meditation. If you allow one thought to come and then another thought to come, another, it could be contemplation, but it's not meditation. No thought is allowed to come, only one. Is it, what do you do during that time? A thought comes, or do you repulse, or do you get angry, or do you use your force? Many of you get, if you have a hidden camera and just sit down and meditate, you will find yourself a fool, making many, many faces. Swamiji said, no thoughts. Why this thought has come? Okay, if you come again, I'll see. Hundreds of faces you make. And then after seeing that, you say, I was all right without meditation. Why did I do this problem? Suddenly you remember something which you cannot speak. There are many things in your life which you have never spoken to anybody. You are afraid what people will think about you. You are afraid of the opinions of others. Because you have asked, you have been leading life for others. Because nobody teaches you how to live for yourself. You always, what others will think. You wear good clothes not for yourself. Otherwise you would have worn good clothes in your bathroom. Because you are the best there, all alone. And even for home, you don't wear good clothes, you wear just a gown and remain with you. For your people, you don't wear good clothes. You wear good clothes for others, for the sake of others' opinion. You speak sweet words for others. Even to enemy, you said, how are you? You hate him. So you are, in the world, you are taught to go with the opinions of others. But at the same time, you should learn to form your own opinion, to execute your own opinion, to express your own opinion. That's very important for you to do that. So there should be some way, one after another you have done many things, and when you have not learned how to isolate yourself from your deed, action, you know, if you study British law, it's the most ancient law in the modern world. Both British and French law study how the thieves and robbers are convicted. They say, we are not, oh man, we are not convicting you. We are punishing you for your deeds, not you. You are different from your deed. So when you are constantly identifying yourself with your deed, you will suffer. During meditation, you are not allowed to do that. Otherwise, it's not meditation. So there is a method in Samaya. Those who are learning on the path, it will be very helpful for them. Here on the space between the two eyebrows, this is called in Sanskrit, what is it called, Lord Shankar? Brekote. What is it called? Yeah, Trikote. Three means three lines, equilateral triangle here, you see. What do you do when you go to the therapist? You say, this is my problem, help me. If you don't say, how a therapist can help you? But there are many things which you cannot tell your therapist. Many things. No matter how truthful you are, how nice your doctor and therapist, you don't say. 2/3 of your personality is never known to anybody. You always keep it to yourself. And you don't try to know it also, because you think it's unpleasant. I have not seen anybody in the world who speaks the way he thinks, otherwise he will be landed in asylum. The way you think, if you start saying whatever you think, next day you will be tied up, round up, put in the hospital. Whatever you think, that is your private business, but whatever you have to say, it has something to do with others also. You know. Suddenly in my mind, out of animosity comes, you are stupid, and I say, you are stupid, you will slap me, then and there. So all thoughts are not translated the way we want through our speech and actions. The best of the therapist is this science which teaches you how to apply that therapy which no one can help you. It has been very helpful, I am telling you that. I never had a therapist. And I am a human being like you. But I see you suffering on account of such things. You come to me and say you have guilt. And you never ask, Swamiji, do you have guilt? Did you ever have guilt? You are a human being. I will say no. You should ask why. Why did you not have as a human being? Why do I have? I will answer you. When I sit down, as I told you, keeping my head, neck and trunk straight, I pay attention towards my body and nothing else. Not to breath, nothing else, just to body. Because I am attending my body. When my body is steady and still, I don't think of it. I pay attention towards my breath and not to my body. Because I have trained my mind that way. And how did I train my mind? My master, you see, it's easy to train. You see. Suppose mind says, Rama, pick up this chalk. Is it needed? No. Why should I pick up? I don't want to pick up. Okay, mind, if you want to pick up, go and pick up. I will not move my hand. At least my hand I can see. I don't see you. So my master said, start doing this. When I was young, he said, any woman you see, young woman, think of your mother. And that idea vanished. This way, many things were taught to me during that time. Don't ever say that no human being on the earth, anybody who is human being, doesn't commit mistake. This is not true. It's hypocrisy, and that's not true. We all can commit mistakes. But those who go on repeating mistakes, they are weak human beings. They don't come to that category. They are not a strong people. My sitting this way could hurt you. But if I find that it is hurt and it's not acceptable, perhaps I will not sit this way. I will change my posture. Okay. What do you mean by that guilt? Why do you suffer from that guilt? Is it your habit? That you are sick of your habit and you cannot change? Is it your willpower that you don't have willpower if you want to do something and yet you are not able to do? And you are constantly doing something which you are not supposed to do, which you think is bad according to you, and then you start condemning yourself instead of appreciating, admiring yourself. I tell you, I can tell you with complete certainty, no cancer can ever occur without agony in the mind. Not possible. Not possible. Cancer is created by mind. A serious disease like cancer. Any disease which is considered to be cancerous or impossible disease, mind is involved in it. Can that mind be trained to cure? Yes. Then why mind does not cure? By that time mind is made over to cure. It becomes so weak that it loses its capacity. It's difficult to rehabilitate such a mind. If you break somebody's legs so brutally and then try to rehabilitate, it's so difficult. Mind has capacity to cure, but mind, I used to do it. I used to create, and on my body there are many such knife marks. I used to create consciously a tumor, test it, and it is malignant, you see, and then there was nothing. Your mind, you can create that mentally. Whatever you want, you do it. Why don't? You can create disease. All these diseases are your creation. Otherwise, it would be a common disease for all. Why to only individual? That individual is creating disease and not. So this should be seen. When mind is learned to be, how mind over matter, and with the help of breath, to understand the twin laws of life, perhaps it will be helpful for you. So there is a therapy the teacher teaches us. This is called, the highest of all fires is called jnana fire, jnana, knowledge, fire of knowledge. All fires are petty in front of that. Jnana, knowledge. And for that knowledge, fire of knowledge, we could call it Guru. Guru means that which dispels the darkness of ignorance is called Guru. It's a fire, it's a knowledge. So particularly this is called Jnana Chakra or Guru Chakra on Trikuti here. Just put your thumb here. No, you see me, what I am doing. And then from it starts Trikoti. You see. So Trikoti he starts here. You know. So after you have attained still posture, serene breath, and you start dealing with your mind, Manha Prakshalana comes. How to purify your mind. Finest of all therapy, no therapist in the world can do such a good job. You sit down, you ask your mind, now recall all the thoughts. If you sit down one day and find out how many good things have you done in your life, it will be difficult for you to remember. It will be easy for you to remember how many odd things you have done. Mind will bring thousands and thousands and thousands of odd things. So that which you think, many times you think something odd, it's not. According to your knowledge and growth, sometimes you take something very seriously, which you should not. But what to do? That's your habit. I am not beautiful, you say. Who says that you are not beautiful? Others? But you are you. You are the most beautiful in the world. There is no one that can be compared. Learn to appreciate yourself. I am not a good person. Why? I have many guilt feelings. You have simply learned bad things that is called storage, hoarding things. So after you have learned how to sit, then dealt with it, you come with your mind. First thing you do it. Ask your mind to sit here. Anything that comes, that something comes, you should offer it to the fire of knowledge. Now, suppose I have stolen something no one knows, and I feel guilty that I shouldn't have stolen that. That thought comes, well, you are sitting in meditation, how about that thought? How about that deed of yours? You are not fit for meditation. Suppose such a thought comes, offer that thought to the fire of knowledge. You have offered it once. Once you give it to somebody, you don't say, give it to me. Give me my thing back. No, you don't say that. One after another, you offer all the thoughts that coming to you, all the thoughts coming to you, offer to the fire of knowledge. This way, if that thought which you have offered already comes to you, it will not come in ugly form and you can say, but I have already offered you to the fire. How do you exist? Why are you coming to me again? From where? Oh, it's not really thought. It's just a simple memory. It's just like that rope which has tied you, it is burnt. It has no power to tie, though it leaves its ashes. This way you can remove, you can be free from your negativity. Then you have a confidence. I have given all such thoughts, offered such thoughts. I have given all the oblations, to this fire. In this mentally, first thing is to evoke Guru Chakra, to evoke this fire, now fire of knowledge. You see. And then offer all the thoughts. There are three main layers of the thoughts in your mind. Deeply buried, which you are not aware of, latent, whom you can awaken according to the situation, and there are day-to-day thoughts. In this process, they say, it's very easy to get rid of all these thoughts and go beyond the mire of thoughts. And they are successful. It's a very successful therapy, more successful therapy. Where is that fire? The fire of knowledge is there, through which you think, through which you decide, through which you do things in your daily life. It's there. And then you come down to your Untitled Chakra, which is called gateway to the city of life. So I told you the order, how to sit steadily and comfortably, how to breathe, and then how to think. Those thoughts which are injurious to you directly, which are creating complex, which are creating problems, because such thoughts might come, you see, express themselves through diseases which are not curable. Because they are your personal thoughts. How doctors and world know? By that time they analyze, another disease comes. The catalogue of diseases coming, you are knowing today. You see. All the diseases cannot be known through scientific methods. There are diseases which are subtler than that, Cannot be analyzed yet. They need more analysis, they need more probing. Therefore, this therapy is 100% accurate. Self-therapy. When you have done this, then your mind is brought down, focused on this point. I told you, why do you want to see something? For seeing something, please open your eyes. For not seeing, please close down your eyes. That's the point. I see you, I don't feel bad, you are all wonderful. Now I close my eyes, if I see you, what I'll say? Hey, don't come in my mind. It means your attitude is not right. Attitude for meditation should also be, which is called Sankalpa Shakti. You are determining, no matter what happens, no thought. I fought with my wife a few minutes ago. My time of meditation has come. You are still angry and say what she thinks of herself. I am a provider, I am doing so much, I love her, and she is doing. You see. Sometimes you express your anger during this meditation. Don't do this. You have already done by concentration on Guru Chakra. You decide, determine that I am not going to see anything. For seeing anything, I have eyes, I can use telescope, I can use my glasses. Why do I want to see? Or what is there to be seen? Then, have you ever seen? You call complete darkness? If you just do like that and ask yourself, do you see your fingers? Say no. Okay. Then I say, have you got fingers or not? You said yes. But when you don't see, how do you say yes? What is that which tells you that you still exist in complete darkness? You are not seeing yourself. There is something in you beyond your seeing, that makes you realize that you still exist. Who is that experiencer of darkness? Who experiences that this is dark and this is light? That is also light, that still exists. So first determination today, no matter what happens, nothing should disturb my mind. I will not worry for anything. Yet, Tattva will bring forward their colors. If it comes and goes, doesn't matter. Pay attention towards your focal point. It has many meanings. You can interpret this circle for this circle could be a dark hole. Interpretation. This can be a circle. This can be a pit. You see? So here inside this point here, when I told you to just meditate on this point, just on the complete darkness, then you start seeing the light within, from within. You can even attain a state which is called, without eyes you can see things, without the help of eyes. This is 100% true what I am telling you. Without mind you can attain reality. Because with mind you cannot. With this sort of mind that you have, no. Either you train or then you completely forget that you have mind, then you can attain. Mind has a domain, it works only in certain field. Mind cannot work beyond. And you have to go beyond. So you'll have to drop mind, whether it is pure, impure or disciplined. Impure mind does not allow you to go up to that stage. Pure mind gives up there, say, I cannot go beyond this, and does not disturb you. A good mind, trained mind, orderly mind is that mind which does not create obstacles for you, which has stopped creating obstacles for you. And when you want to use it in the world, it should be used. When you don't want to use it, don't use it. But during meditation, it should not disturb you. That is a serious problem that is over if you have consciously asked all the thoughts coming and offering their thoughts in the fire here. Jnana Chakra or Guru Chakra, what you call. There is another chakra, where the yogis taught. This is between Guru Chakra and this. Another small chakra that is called Soma Chakra. You know, Soma ordinarily means juice of the herbs, wines prepared from the herbs. And when I made research on this, I found out the Soma is a creeper. It's a succulent. You know, in cacti family there are two things, cactus and succulent. It comes from succulent. And it is grown on three levels. At tea, low-grown tea and high-grown tea, there is difference. Highest grown, the best flavor, low grown, the best color. So highest grown tea is something rare. You see. Soma, creeper. What that Soma, they used to prepare Soma and drink it, literally. Soma wine. There's so much literature in Rig Veda about it. But the yogis say we don't have to go anywhere outside, we have enough Soma inside. They tap Soma Chakra. They get that divine intoxication there. What that divine? Whatever they experience here, they become intoxicated and remain in that intoxication all day. You see. And that's why ordinary people in India, to such people, say this man is crazy. But he is in his meditation all the time. You meet many people which are not understood by others, you see. Because they enjoy, they are in their Soma intoxication. So they do. Soma. What that Soma does it? Constant awareness. And in Soma you are constantly aware that you don't think of anything. That intoxication is like that. But this Vidya is not attainable without the help of a competent teacher who has already done this. As your physical body needs nutritious food, cleansing habits, exercises, and not doing things beyond your capacity. Your breath needs to be serene, not shallow. Your mind needs to be purified. Your mind is purified. Then such a purified mind is no more obstacles, then you can go beyond to the fourth step. God bless you. Peace, 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 happy.